I'm realizing that this format, this daily video, is becoming a sort of meditation for me. I find it really hard to set aside time, to create time in my day, to reflect, to be peaceful, to really sit with my thoughts and organize everything that's going on up here. So every minute of my day I tend to fill with stimulus, with information, with action. And it all feels like an escape from the stillness that's within me. I have this deep fear of confronting that silence, that nothingness. But I realize that the most powerful people, and I don't mean this in the sense of influencing or controlling other people, but the people who have the most inner power, have very strong command over their attention, their intention, and their ability to do nothing. There's a saying that I learned from a mentor: if you can't do nothing, how can you expect to do anything? And what he meant by this is that if you can't sit still and control your body and control your mind to relax and do nothing, then everything else in your life really is just you being pulled to do things. You are not really under your own control if you can't stop yourself from doing things, if you can't say no. That's what meditation is to me. It's the fundamental act of saying no. Saying no to the hustle and bustle and constant desire to grind and move forward. Saying no to the thoughts and distractions that are trying to pull you away from the present moment. Saying no to that voice in your head that never feels satisfied and constantly needs to be validated or needs to be moving towards something. There's a certain disease that's spreading through our society today, where our attentions are no longer our own. We no longer control what we spend our time on. We lose track of what we really want, and we're pulled to these superficial wants and desires. We set aside our dreams and our fantasies and our true callings, the things that we know would fulfill us. And instead we spend our entire day on TikTok and Twitter. Information is flooding our brains at millions of miles per minute every single day. And it feels like we need to be tapped into this constant stream. We need to gain more information. But often I found that I'm the happiest when I have less. Not none. I think information is a nutrient, not unlike food. We need some to survive. We need some novelty, we need some stimulus. We need maps of words and symbols to help us navigate the world. But the amount that we need is far surpassed by the amount that's available, by the amount that we're told we should consume, the amount that we feel compelled to consume. And so lately I've been retreating back to books, to podcasts, to longer YouTube videos, 1 to 2 hours long, that really force me to engage with the information, force me to go deep and actually learn something, to actually sit there and think through it. To follow an author's train of thinking or a speaker for much longer than the 30 seconds, 5 seconds, 2 seconds that we're used to as we scroll through our phones. And I think this is a really powerful shift that's happening throughout all of our society today. There's this tweet, I think by Julian Shapiro, who says that our attention spans are not getting shorter. Sure, we may be increasingly addicted to short form media, TikTok, Instagram Reels, but we're also increasingly spending time on longer form. People are returning to books, but they're also watching classical films. We're also binging 14-hour Netflix shows in one night. And these are the same people. It's not that our attention spans are getting shorter, it's that our consideration spans are getting shorter. Our standard of quality is much higher. But given the choice between short form and long form, it's much easier to choose the junk food, the little snacks, the little bites of information that feel attractive, but they lack substance. And so, as I go into this new chapter of my life, as I begin my first real job, I move to the city, move out of my childhood home, I want to remind myself to cultivate my consideration, to not be dragged around by marketers and psychologists engineering the perfect hooks and the perfect entertainment, but to really be aware of and tasteful with and selective with the media that I consume. I found that going to books has been especially powerful, not just committing myself and forcing myself to read, but buying a bunch of books that catch my interest and flipping through multiple of them at the same time. I found that reading multiple books has helped me retain the sense of novelty while also cultivating depth. If I get bored with one book, I can shift to another. If I really feel stuck in a book, I can leave it aside for a little bit until my curiosity returns to it. Maybe something in my life reminds me of the specific topic that I was reading about. One book, for example, that I'm reading is Why Buddhism is True. And I haven't touched it in about a week because it hasn't resonated with me. But today I had a coaching session with someone who reminded me how important meditation is and attention is. And now I want to return to that book. Because I think everything in our life comes in waves. And if we really develop this flourishing garden of information, instead of just drinking from the stream, from algorithms, if we create our own algorithms of taste, I think that's the best way to start to really connect with ourselves, to distinguish ourselves, to individuate and become the best versions of ourselves. And so as I move into this new chapter of my life, the big priority will be books. Having this garden of books, this collection. Something that feels lovely to me right now about my home is when I return to my living space, in front of my couch, my bedstand by my bed. I have dozens of books just sprawled out, available for me to choose. And the ones that speak to me, I can tell they have a little sparkle. I have a little more interest in this one today or this one. And I can just reach for it and grab it. And not only is it healthier, is it more interesting than scrolling my phone and looking at the same Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, it's more fun. At the end of it, I feel better. I feel spiritually more whole. I feel intellectually engaged. And I feel like I'm becoming myself, not a product of the machine. That's all I got for today. Running up on 10 minutes. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.